Hi guys, this is Tony here from Metal Roos. You're about to sit down and enjoy an interview I just did um, over there. And so do like and subscribe so you can get all this straight into your streaming and into your consciousness as soon as it arrives. So enjoy the interview, and I will. Over to you, Tony.
Looks better. Yeah, thanks for coming on Metal Ruse, Damien from Dissect. It's really great to see you and to chat to you about this new EP that's coming out.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. I'm super keen to talk about it and stuff for this EP to finally be out. It's been a long time, so.
How long have you been working on it?
Oh man, like it started, um, the first track, Hard from the Light, like I wrote that in, I think, a late 2022 or early 2023. So that one kind of kicked off this whole new direction we kind of have, like, with all the songs and stuff. So yeah, it's been a good 2.5 years at least. So yeah, it's good for it to all finally be about to be out. So yeah.
Brilliant. And you're touring with Make Them Suffer, I believe, for a few days on their regional tour that they're doing.
Yeah, next month.
Hmm.
We're doing the 4 dates of the Queensland run, so just the first 4 dates of the tour. So
Yeah, because it's sold out in Mackay. I know it's sold out really, really quickly. So that's going to be a good show for you guys to kick off your tour with the new EP.
yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, we've never played like North Queensland before. So it'd be sick to like hit those dates and hit those areas with such a sick lineup, for the first time. So yeah,
Brilliant, brilliant.
looking forward.
Yeah, I listened to the singles from the EP as they've come out, and sort of been with them for a little while now, and um, they're really dark and sort of textured tracks, and which is I think what you're sort of known for. Is that the direction that you're going, just a little bit more darker than usual, or?
Yeah, I'd say so. Like, I feel like all the stuff we've done in the past has always kind of had like a pretty dark like undertone to it. I think
Hmm,
it's at least lyrically, but
hmm,
yeah, I think the new stuff, like, yeah, I think just across the board, like, has just kind of come out just like a lot darker and heavier. Like, I feel like, me and Jack, who do like the writing and stuff, like,
hmm.
we both come from like deathcore backgrounds. So I think that's kind of come through a lot more on this release for sure. Because with this one, we were kind of just like, we don't have to sound like what we always sound like, or we don't have to, sound a certain way because we're a metalcore band or whatever. Let's just do whatever we like and have fun with it. And I think that kind of, shined through a bit. And yeah, the heavy and the deathcore side or whatever you want to call it kind of just came through a lot more. So yeah.
I felt it because I mean I was listening back to Bury You, Bury Me, and there was a definite growth from that first few singles to you had to now. Like Shura particularly is a really mature track.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying the other stuff isn't mature, but the difference between the early stuff to now is quite amazing. There's a bigger sound, I think, in these new singles.
Yeah, thank you. Like I really appreciate that. Hey, like it's funny like with Shura as well. That was the last one we wrote for the EP. And like yeah, I think we did like six or so different versions of it. And I was just so unsure of it. And then yeah, it ended up being a single. So it's like it's sick for it to be like I was really unsure like how people are gonna receive it because it felt like to me anyway, like way weirder song from I guess if you compared it to like anything else we have, I think structurally and just everything going on in it, it's a bit more strange. So yeah, but yeah, I've done the same thing. I've listened to Mirror Image and then gone and listened to our new stuff, and it's just like yeah, I can hear the difference so much in like so many different ways, and yeah, it's weird listening to the old stuff now. So yeah.
Yeah, I love hearing a journey of a band. It's really nice. A young band like yourself, the journey is so interesting. Like Shura, for me, the reason I like it is like you said, it's interesting, it's odd, it's different. I think that's what stands out as why I like it so much because it grabs me in different ways that the music, other music doesn't. it's got all these different textures and points of view, which I hadn't heard before.
True. That's sick to hear. Love to hear.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what I have to ask, obviously the EP itself it has a story attached. Is that right? It's like a journey of a man's hope and loss and things like that. This is what I've read in the bios because I haven't heard the EP yet, but this is what I've read. What does Shura mean? What does that? I have to ask because where does that come from?
Yeah, so the initial like inspiration for that is so I'm like a really big fan of the game Sekiro by From Software, like who make like Elden Ring and Dark Souls and stuff. And
Mm,
I'm really big into Sekiro. And basically like in Sekiro, like sure like you get like an ending in the game, which is the Shura ending, and there's like this concept in the game called Shura, which is like basically someone who just starts kind of, I guess, killing without and they kind of forget because like they can't stop killing and they just forget why they even want to kill. They just have like this unsatiable like lust for killing, which is
mm,
obviously pretty crazy. But then when I like looked into like what Shura was and where like I guess From Software could have gotten their inspiration from, like it comes from like the term Ashura. And there's a whole lot of lore about it online that would definitely explain it better than I'm about to. But
mm.
like, yeah, it's like basically someone like an individual. This is like the, I guess, the inspiration that I took from it. Like, as an individual that is being forced to fight an inhumane war, even though wanting to live in a life of peace, type thing. And that's kind of, I think, yeah, like that was my main inspiration when I was looking into like the lore of it. And yeah, it just kind of made a lot more sense to me, like when I wrote the lyrics and stuff, and how the song was structured out, because even if with like the Sekiro reference, like the scene in the game where I'm kind of referencing, um I don't want to spoil anything, but like
Mm.
basically there's like it's said that there's like a haiku that's like said in the game, and like I don't know much about that, so I'm not gonna act like I do, but like a part of what I read online was that like haikus tend to mirror each other like poetically, like each line. So that was kind of like what I had in mind with Shura structurally in the song. So like it starts with the intro and it ends with the intro. So it's kind of like I kind of wanted to it to like almost be like a haiku, if that makes sense. Like
Oh,
I,
yeah, it does. Yeah.
yeah, the intro starts with the verse, repeats the verse again later, and then it's basically just a breakdown in the middle. Um, I guess if you look at it differently, like it's like a hook, you know what I mean? But I never looked at it that way. I kind of just thought it was a verse, and that's why I thought the song was really weird because I was like, it's ending with the verse. So then I was like, let's do another breakdown, and then yeah, so then yeah, that's why it ends. It starts the same as it finishes, type thing, because I had that in mind. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's why I love it so much. It's just juxtapositions within the song, but it also mirrors itself, like I said, beginning and end, which is something really good. So I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of the stuff on the album. Obviously, we've had three singles off the EP so far. So Sure, Hide from the Light, and Too Many Scars. Uh, all of them brilliant, by the way. All of
Thank you.
them. It's so good that an Australian band, a young band, can make sound like yours. Because if you plugged it in and you're in LA, you wouldn't know. You're a young Australian guys from Brisbane. You'd go, "Where's this big act from?" It has a big sound, and I think that comes down to production. Because did you use a different producer this time as well?
Yeah, so Michael Campbell produced it. So we actually did like a lot of different things this time because normally in the past we would just record ourselves and I'd record myself in the room doing vocals and whatever. It was very DIY. And then this time around, we had Michael from Crystal Sound record us here. So like he produced on the songs in terms of like, we gave him the demos, he helped us out with restructures or changing drums. And yeah, so things like that. And then in terms of like the post production and stuff, like he helped us out with that a bit. We do a lot of that in-house ourselves though too. Like me and Jack, we both come from like production backgrounds in like trap metal, like making beats and stuff.
Mm.
Um, and then also like our like fifth unofficial member of the band, like Jaden Lee, who's also known on Instagram as like Prod Plague. Like he is an absolute beast at production, and he's all over this as well. And then for Shura and Hide from the Light, we got Luca Rizoka from 1056 to do some production. So we really just like for this EP, we really wanted to like completely like up the ante and go hard with the post-production side of things. And that's also like why the I don't know if you've noticed, but like the guitars aren't as loud as they might normally be in like a metal mix. Like
Mm.
we wanted it to kind of feel a bit different from like a regular just modern metal mix. So like again, the guitars are lower and the production's at the forefront, so it feels like this different kind of beast, I guess, in a way. You know what I mean? And I think Scotty Siegel, who mixed it, absolutely nailed that. Like I listen to it now, and like when I listen to other things on Spotify, like I feel like without like trying to glaze ourselves or anything, like I just think like it just sounds different. You know, I mean, I can't place exactly what it is, but there's just something about it that feels a little bit different, which I'm really stoked on. So yeah.
Yeah, it does. It's very right. Well put because it's quite dystopian. Like it has this real. When I listened to it, and I was sort of using my imagination to think about the music, I was thinking that a quite modern sci-fi almost, even though it's not a sci-fi album. It has this sort of yeah, this sort of like Blade Runner feel. When I was, I was sitting on, I thought I could feel the rain and the it just felt really heavy and dark and futuristic in the mix. Which is, I think you've come across a great sound there. Whether it was deliberate, like I said, I always said, you deliberately went hard, but I think for the fan base are going to love it.
Yeah, I'm hoping so, man. I've been really nervous, like, to, I guess, release the stuff before we started, like, releasing it, and even now, like, coming up to the release and stuff, just because, like, it is quite, in a way, quite different to the older stuff. Whereas, like, our old music, I feel like it was pretty simple. Like, it was vocals, guitars, bass, drums, and then maybe some post-prod here and there. Whereas this stuff is just now we've got like 70 tracks of production going on. Just like so much ridiculous stuff going on in the background. A lot of it you won't even hear, but just all these different layers. And I feel like it's still very much us. It's literally us just heavier, and then we've just got I think a lot more cool stuff going on. And I personally think it's the best stuff we've ever made. But yeah, I have been nervous to see how it would be received because like I feel like we've been a band for like 3-4 years now, and like I think this being our 30p, people kind of expect a certain sound from you and stuff, which I think we've nailed in terms of the heaviness, but it's always a bit scary, kind of departing even like a little bit from what people might expect, you know what I mean? So
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
but it's been received well, which is great. So
I
yeah.
mean, like, brave, because you're a young band. A lot of young bands don't reach out and beyond their boundaries early on. They get a channel and then they go, right, okay, we'll go. Now we can. We've got like 18 albums or whatever. Right, do what we want. But I think this is good for you to do this because you're going to gain followers. Yeah, you may lose one or two, but you're going to gain more than you'll lose if you lose any at all. That is, because the sound is really on point at the moment, I
Yeah,
think.
cool.
Yeah, yeah. And
Good
taking
to
it
hear.
live, do you think it's going to be hard to play that live?
Well, I mean, we've already played a few of them live
Oh,
before. Just like when we were on tour with Stone, we played Hard from the Light. We played There Was Never Light as well. And then when we did a tour last year with Heaven's Gate, and we were playing like a demo version of Shura back then. And like honestly, it's fine to play live. Obviously like the post-production stuff like that, I mean, we physically can't play that stuff. So like it's just backing tracks. But yeah, like we haven't had any issues playing it live. It's mostly me that's had issues playing it live just because I just don't do myself any favors in the studio vocally. Like so it's really hard for me to do it,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know? Yeah. So yeah.
That was my next question. I mean, you do go for it vocally. Like you're not holding back here. There's no I could do this on 8. You're doing it on 11. So so live you must be. I mean, the I don't know how do you back up night after night with a voice like that?
Honestly, I've been pretty lucky with like never having lost my voice like from doing vocals and stuff, which is great. Um and on tours and stuff, like I kind of find it gets easier for me to do vocals like every night. So like normally it's like day one, day two that I'm kind of struggling a bit because it's coming off not having done like a show in a while and like my voice isn't quite like fully there yet. But then when it gets to like day three, day four, that's when I'm like really like in my zone. Um, and yeah, like I guess when we were at the end of the Throne tour, like I was starting to feel like just a little bit like fatigued and stuff, but I think that was just general fatigue. It wasn't necessarily like vocal. But yeah, like I always find that it just gets a little bit easier like every night because I kind of know like what I'm in for. Like I'm getting my flow back in terms of like just moving around on stage and just all of it, you know what I mean? So
Mm.
yeah, lucky in that way. Yeah, I've always like when I was younger and stuff would see like some vocalists lose their voice and stuff, and it was always something I was a bit worried about happening to me. So hopefully it doesn't end up happening, but so far so good, you know? So
Yeah, like it's like a muscle, I suppose. You keep using it, and it just gets stronger, doesn't it? I mean,
yeah,
extreme vocals are not they're not the playground of the amateur. You will damage yourself if you do not know what you're doing. I think that that fascinating that you can do it night after night. So, are you planning to do any overseas touring soon with this?
hopefully like we really want to like get over to like Europe and the US, especially like the US. Since we've started as a band, like we've always had like a our biggest following over in the US, and it's kind
Mm.
of evened out now between Australia and the US, but we still have more of a following in the US than we do have in Australia, which is kind of crazy. Um, so like yeah, we really want to get over there and as well as Europe, you know, but just waiting, you know, for like the offer to come through and for it to finally happen, you know. So yeah.
I will do. On the back of this, mate, I'd be very surprised if you don't get the call to come and do some festivals and stuff overseas because it's a big production sound. It's got a lot of balls, if I can say that without it's got a lot of balls to it, and I just think, I mean, I mean, obviously you're making EPs. That's what you like to do. Have you ever thought of doing more full length albums?
100%, man. Yeah,
Mm,
I've been thinking about it since like the beginning. It's just like how things I guess have worked out over the years and stuff. Like we've always just kind of been because like the album is like a big thing for us, you know. It's like when we do like the full length and stuff, we want it to be like, you know, this thing or whatever, you know, and then yeah, just how things kind of pan out. You end up with like a certain amount of songs and you're like, well, let's just give this to people, you know, so that we have something to give. And, you know, we're kind of always constantly been working and like evolving our sound as well. And I think that's also why EPs have kind of made more sense, you know,
mm.
especially with this new stuff. Or like, because, you know, we wanted this to be an album, but like, you know, at the same time, we're also like, you know, okay, like I was saying before, being a little bit nervous about it not being received well. We're like, well, we don't want to necessarily give people 30 minutes of this and they hate it, you know, so
Yeah, getcha, getcha.
you
Yeah,
know, so yeah, but like 100%, like yeah, we definitely want to do an album and will definitely be sooner rather than later. So
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, a lot of bands are going that way now, economically wise, just doing singles and EPs because it's cheaper to produce it, easier
yeah,
to distribute it, which is a real sad thing. Unfortunately, I'm an album man. I like my EPs, but I want 45 minutes of you. Not I like to sit down and have more. You just get your teeth into it, and then you
yeah,
go
100.
with it. Like you just get your teeth in it. But if the album does come, I mean, on the back of this, my friend, it's just going to be it's crazy. Like it's such a good thing. There's an Aussie band. I love it. We don't
Thanks so much.
we produce such great music here,
Yeah,
and
no,
I think the scene here is so strong.
yeah, no, it's wild. We've got such a crazy talented like I was seeing like there's so many good bands coming out of Australia, you know, and yeah, you know, it's awesome to see. There's always so many new ones popping up too. And even the bands that are around now, like bands that started around the time or just after, like when we started, you know, just absolutely killing it. And it's really sick that, you know, they get to be like your peers, you know, like it's just insane to like look around you and be like, wow, like these bands that I like actively listen to are like my friends too, you know.
Oh
It's
yes, lovely, isn't it?
you
Yeah.
know, yeah.
Yeah, real community. There's a real community spirit, I think, in Australian metal. I don't get into negativity. Always people just good, happy for everyone else to do what they're doing and get on with what they're doing and do well, which is a lovely thing in this modern world we live in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%, man.
yeah. So the EP comes out on the 30th, is that right?
Yeah, yeah. So next week Friday.
Wow, very soon.
Yeah.
Well, you've done all the hard work. Now you just got to give birth, push it out into the world, and let the
No,
world
yeah.
take its thoughts.
It's so weird to think, man, because like for so long, like as I said, like I wrote Hard from the Light in 2023 or whatever. And so for the longest time in my mind, it's been like, hey, I need to do this, and I need to do that. We need to do this. We need to shoot that. We need to record that. We need to, you know what I mean? The whole
Mm.
nine yards for like the longest time. Then we did all that, and then it was like, hey, now we just need to wait for this video to come out, then this video. And I remember when we did our last video with Colin, which was Hard from the Light. It was just kind of like this weird feeling of like, as you say, like, oh, true, like it's all done now. Like now we just need to wait. You know, it was
Yeah,
like because this time all I've known is just working towards this like perpetual like it's going to happen at some point. We just got to work, you know. And now it's just okay, cool. Now we just got to wait and see if people like it. So yeah,
yeah, and they will, mate. They really, really will. Because as I said, it's the difference between the first singles and this. It's not like a different band. I don't mean that because you can hear your DNA all the way through it. Like there's no suddenly a completely just weird difference. But there can definitely growth in there,
yes,
in an intelligence. I mean, you know what I mean? Like there's a more thoughtful, intelligent aspect to the later singles.
yeah. I definitely agree, man.
Mm.
That's sick to hear you say that because like that's kind of like what I wanted to achieve with this. Like I wanted it to still feel like us while still like being new and growing and doing something different. So it's like it's really cool to hear that we've kind of like done that in a way, you know?
Yeah. Well, you never want to have the same meal every day, do you? I mean, you'd want to try something new, but you like, you want to, if you go to the same restaurant, let's be honest, I like this meal, but I've tried something a little bit different, but it's still the same meal. It's still the same restaurant, right? And I
Yeah.
think I mean, a silly analogy, but it's all I can think of at the time.
No,
But
no.
yeah, but that's the thing, isn't it? Like you as a creator, as an artist, you don't want to be sitting down in a rut. I mean,
Yeah,
you just would stop making it.
exactly, man. And I think like with like this type of music we make and stuff, um, you can't just keep making the same song, you know what I mean? Like, because
Mm.
it's all just angry or sad, like pissed off kind of music, but
Yeah.
like if the instrumentals stay the same and the lyrics stayed the same, then it's like where are we really gonna like how long can we realistically do that? You know what I mean?
Mm.
So and again, like, when we started a band, like the band and stuff, we were like, cool, like, we're gonna do this and we were just writing and having fun with it or whatever. And it sounded a certain way. And then, as I said, with like writing this stuff, we kind of just like, lent back into like our influences a lot more, rather than being like it needs to sound like a Diesect song,
Mm.
like it was like I was like, fuck that. Like let's like we all listen to so much different styles of music. We create different styles of music while we like pigeonholing ourselves into like this box of like we need to sound this way because we're a band. Like, like
Mm.
let's put trap hi-hats in there, let's do spins, 808s and all this kind of crazy stuff.
Wonderful.
Let's just say fuck it, and have fun. So yeah.
Wonderful. And then again, that's why I loved it as well, because I don't like boxes. I don't want to say dissect this box or this box because it automatically, as a fan, as a listener alone, it pigeonholes me.
Yeah.
So if it pigeonholes me, why do I? It would only make it worse for you guys, right? For the
Yeah.
making the art. So I mean, this whole one is like it's proggy. This new one, it's got like you said, those little weird bits like the trap beats and stuff in it that you wouldn't expect. It comes across you and you smile for a second when it happens because you go, oh, that's something different. And then you go
Yeah.
back and listen to it again, and it's like, oh, something different.
Yeah. No.
And I think that's the beauty of your kind of music. Like it really is that kind of textured, layered music that you don't get in most pop music. Let's be honest, you don't get it.
Yeah. No, that's actually here that it's all coming across like I guess the way we wanted it to, man. Because like again, like I feel even when we kind of we did it initially with Second Death, and I remember people were kind of a little bit mixed about that one because that one's got like a straight up like a trap beat in the middle of it, and I remember speaking to people at shows like saying that they initially weren't too sure about it, and then it kind of grew on them. So like based on that, but that's kind of where we were coming from with like, well, we kind of doubled down on this, so like hopefully they like it, but. Yeah, no, it's sick to hear that it's coming across in like the right way, and like yeah, there's like a lot of ear candy in there, and
There
yeah,
is, yeah, there is, absolutely is. Yeah.
a lot of great candy in there. So yeah, it's nice to hear that it's not just getting like, brushed over or not really heard, so Yeah.
No, no. I said I went before I listened to the new singles. I went back and listened to all of the older ones, and and that's why when I got to the new stuff, it felt like yeah there was a change, but I really like the change because it, as I said to you before, it feels like you're doing something outside of your box,
Yeah.
but enjoying it. That's the key. It sounds like you enjoy it when you put this on.
Yeah, 100%.
Um,
I love listening to this stuff. Like, not like it's probably, I know some people say like you shouldn't like listen to your own music or whatever, but I completely disagree with that, because it's
oh
like
no,
I want to
exactly.
like the stuff that I listen to and I like bop my head to and like love it because
Yeah.
otherwise what's the point? You know what I
Yeah, yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
so yeah,
And you
yeah,
hit the nail on the head there, mate. It makes you move. There's a real
yeah,
sense of movement in this EP, right? It's not a
yeah,
stagnated piece of music. You don't sit there on your hands on your head. Yeah, it's dark subject matter. Yeah, I grant you, but you move. It's got,
yeah. A lot of breakdown.
yeah, a lot of, it's not static,
Yeah.
it's not, and it's also not in a box. It's not like here, solo here, bass part, it, it has its life, which seems to change every time you listen to it.
Yeah, man. Like, I think like for me, like I'm just like a really, I've always been into like slow, like real, like fat meaty breakdowns, I guess. You know what I mean?
Mm,
That come across on like certain songs. And like, yeah, I think where we're at now as well, like, especially with like me and Jack, like we're so like aligned with like the type of music we like and like want to make or whatever. And like we have to make very different styles of that when we come together and do it. And I just think it's made this like such a sick mix and dynamic between the two of us when we write now that like even on stuff we're working on now, like it's just like it's just so crazy and like I'm super excited about it all, and it's like again like compared to like the old stuff and where we're at now and where we're hopefully, gonna be and stuff, like it's so much more exciting to me. And yeah, I think as a band as a whole, we're just way more like now like we're like way more locked in on like what we are making and what we want to make. And I think that kind of shows through in the music so much because there's no like a little bit of this there, a little bit of that here, and it's not really gelling, It's like I think it's like we're like, cool, this is what we're making and we all love it. And yeah, I just think it shows. So yeah.
it does. See, there's the thing. You're excited by it. And when you're,
Yeah.
as a creator, when you're excited by something that you make, it comes across in the product you give, right?
Mhm.
We've all know bands that just do it by the numbers, yeah? We all know those bands. We won't mention them, but we know them. It's just they've done the same thing and it's the same thing for 40 years and this is what you do. And I can't imagine they're that excited by what they're doing.
Yeah.
But, with bands like yourself who come out the traps, you know, willing to do different things and play with different sounds in the world we can now with all the technology we have, it's delicious. It's really
Yeah.
delicious. Like, and why wouldn't you listen to your own music? I think, good on you.
Yeah. Well, that's it, man. Like I'm pretty bad for it. Like I just like I like need to chill out a lot of the time here because I was like have like the EP in my notes and like I'm like I'll be so excited about new stuff we make that I'll like listen to that shit like 100 times. Like I'll get in my car and just play it and then just play it and just hyper fixate on it.
Yeah,
And then like I kind of get over it because
yeah.
naturally I do that, right? But like, yeah, like I kind of try like set like rules for myself. Okay, I'm like not going to listen to it this week because I'm just going to start hating it before it's even out.
Well, that can be the case. I mean, some artists can't look at their own canvases. I know that when I was at art college, I couldn't look at my canvases. Like I couldn't look at my own
Yeah,
art. It can be
yeah,
hard because you put so much. It's painful. That creation is painful. Yeah, it's not an easy. If it was easy, everyone would do it. It's a painful creative process.
yeah,
Bearing your soul musically and lyrically. And so, I applaud that you can actually go and listen to it, and and give itself some time. That's really strong of you because I would have gone, nope, over there, done now. Don't want to hear it.
No, thank you. I really do appreciate that. Like, yeah, I think for me, like with like on the lyrical side of things, like I find a lot of time, especially like when I listen to like the older stuff, it's kind of like almost like it's like this weird way of journaling. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like, I'll like listen to like say like Shadows Follow, and I'll listen to like the song titled Shadows Follow from that EP, and
mm.
like it's like this weird way of like almost like this like younger version of me like communicating with me now. I know that sounds really like weird
No,
or whatever,
no.
but like yeah, it's like this weird sense of journaling and being like, oh wow, like that's what he was feeling back then, and like say for like a different kind of alone, which is probably like the darkest like song I think I've ever written. Like, like listening back on that now and like imagining like I think I was like probably like 23 or something when I wrote that.
Mm.
Um, and it's just like it's this weird sense of like kind of like reflection I can get from listening to it and stuff. And then same thing with the new stuff. It's like I can listen to it now and it's like, I've only recently like wrote a lot of those lyrics, so it like isn't quite the same. But then like give it a year, give it a 2 years, and like that will be the same thing for me. So it's kind of like I look at it in a kind of positive light. You know what I mean? Like it's
Mm.
just going to be I can reflect on later. So yeah,
And aren't you lucky to have that? And but also, I think audiences, fans will have that as well because they will read that lyric and listen to that lyric in a way that affects them. And they will, and so, we do it. We go back to songs and it reminds us of being, first broken up girlfriend issues, boyfriend issues, family issues. They're a part of your time in your life when they arrive.
yeah,
And you can't disassociate that. You can't disassociate the memory with the
yeah,
music. It's impossible. But you can reflect back on it, like you said. And I think your kind of music with the kind of lyric that you write, it's a beautiful lyric, by the way. Um, um, it is really poignant for a lot of people at the
yeah.
moment. So,
Yeah, I mean, it's been really cool to see over the years, like how many people have connected to the lyrics. Like that's like a big thing for me because like when we started the band, I was just kind of like, I never really like said this to myself, but I've always kind of just naturally written with like the sense of like I'm gonna put it all on the table, be raw as possible, and like not be scared to say something that when I look at it, it'd be like, fuck, like that's a bit like, postal.
mm.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like to not be scared to say it, just kind of just say it how it is or whatever. And um I remember when we were releasing a different kind of one, like I was really nervous to put that one out because that one was a little bit more on the you know, much darker side.
Mm.
And yeah, like that song, I've connected with so many people over the lyrics in that song and just other songs in general, but that one in particular is like a standout for sure. And yeah, I think in terms of like, putting it all on the table and stuff like that, like, there's times when like say again going back to a different kind of alone, like it was like initially hard for me to do that when we would prac it, but then now it's like I do it like it's second nature because we've obviously done it so many times. So like in
Hmm.
this way, being in the band and like doing tours and shows, it's almost like this like exposure therapy to whatever I'm writing about. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
because I get up there and say those words, and they used to be hard for me to say, and now I just do it like it's like muscle memory or whatever, and it's like yeah, it's like this weird sense of like self therapy, I suppose, and then like the beautiful or whatever side of that is like you get to share that with someone else, and like they get to connect with it and find whatever they might need to find from it, which is really cool because for me, like that's the whole reason I got into metal to begin with as a kid, it's like someone saying something that you couldn't necessarily say yourself, but you felt it. And like to be in
Mm.
some way, anyway, like, be able to do that same kind of thing in my life, like that's enough for me. So yeah.
Oh, well put, young man. Honestly, like, I mean, we have to wrap up in a minute, but I just want to say, um, young men's mental health um, are often overseen, right, and ignored or put into the court. They're just young; they get on with it. But to be able to open up your soul like you do in a way using music is such a powerful thing, and I hope that other people, other young men, listen to your band and get the idea that they can do the same thing because it is great catharsis and help for young men, particularly in rural Australia, all around the world, really, anywhere we disenfranchised people are. So, I think it's applaudable that you do it, and it's wonderful that people can reach out to you and say, "Yeah, man, that's how I feel. That's what happened."
Yeah, no, thank you, man. I 100% agree. Like, I definitely would like, yeah, if anyone has access to trying out doing music and just like, even just trying to write lyrics of their own or whatever it is, like, I definitely would recommend it. You know what I mean? Because I couldn't imagine not having it. So yeah.
There you go. Yeah, and I don't think I could either. So it's wonderful. Thanks for chatting. I know you've got a lot on. You've got getting ready for your tour, release of the EP, and working on new stuff, which is going to be exciting. I hope for you and for the rest of us. Glad to chat. And next time I'm up in Queensland, I'll get a chance to see you hopefully, or you're down in Canberra sometime, whenever next. It's like,
Yeah, for sure. Definitely just yeah, if we're ever down there, like I'll send you a message. But no,
yeah,
thanks for
man.
having me.
It was a
Great to
pleasure, man. Absolute pleasure. Brilliant EP. Well worth to listen to. Everyone that's watching this, get into it. And I hope the audiences take it to heart like they should.
thank you so much, man.
Oh, pleasure, man. Bye for now.